Welcome to my YouTube channel if this is your first time, or welcome back if this is not your first time. So in today's video, we're going to do my very, very late February reading wrap up. So we're talking about all the books I read in February. February was, it feels so long ago, probably because I'm doing this quite late. But when I looked back, I thought I had read less books than I actually had. Overall, it was a overall positive reading experiences, but I did have a couple of books where I did struggle with. Anyway, all this rambling to say, let's get into it. So I actually don't remember the order in which I read any of these, so I'm just going to go with the top of the pile. So the first book I'm going to be talking about is Sabriel. This is by Garth Nix. This is an older young adult fantasy. I think it was published in like what 1995 or something like that. Um, Anyway, so in this story, it follows Sabriel, who is the daughter of this Abhorsen, and the Abhorsen is someone who basically make sure that the dead stay dead because in this world they don't. And anyway, something happens to her father, and then she has to travel to where her father is because there's like an old kingdom and a new kingdom, and then she has to go to the old kingdom and find out what happened to her father. And yeah, basically, there's stuff afoot. This book was a bit of a mixed experience for me. I won't have the whole set because I don't have control issues. But the first third, I really struggled with it because you only follow Sabriel and we're following her journey across the old kingdom, and it was kind of it was really slow. I struggled. I wasn't really interested. But then when we get to the when we finally get to the old kingdom to where her father stays, and when we kind of set up on the journey to find out what happened with her father, I was definitely more interested. And when we get like at the animal companion and much more people interact with more people and see more of the old kingdom, I also think that why I struggled with the beginning is the writing style. I don't know, it just was very hard for me to sink into and also to even like imagine what was going on. I don't know, I think that's a me problem, but yeah. All in all, I think I would still recommend, as a classic young adult fantasy. I definitely will still continue with the series because I think now that I'm used to the writing style, it should be okay with me. But yeah, so like mixed, but definitely, and the ending too was solid. I even like teared up a little bit. So yeah, just the first part was a bit of a struggle. Yeah. Then the next book I'll talk about is Thunderhead. This is the second book in the Arc of a Scythe trilogy. So in the first book, we follow this utopia, death has been solved, all that, and now we follow these two teenagers who have been um, picked to be apprentices to Scythe. So because in this world, death has been solved, but however, finite resources, infinite population. So sites are basically have been made in order to keep the population at a manageable, level. And we follow these two teenagers who are apprenticed under a site, and then they come to find out that the site maybe isn't as perfect as it looks like. This second book, at first when I read it, I don't know, I don't think I quite liked it as much as the first. I think it kind of drags in the middle, not going to lie, because I wasn't really like also kind of I had like the ending though. The ending was crazy. The ending I was so but I cry a lot, so that's me. I don't think. But anyway, yeah, I really did like getting to know about the Thunderhead. Those were actually the most interesting sections for me. The things that were going on were, yeah, it kind of dragged in the middle, although it got to a certain point and then it really like kicked off. And I think I missed the two characters from the first book because we get introduced to new characters. And while it's not like I disliked them, but I guess I didn't really like them as much. So, because after time has passed, maybe if I'd done this review earlier, I think I'd have been more positive. But as much time, I thought of it have kind of soured a little bit. The ending, though, the ending was good, but the beginning, it was all right. So, yeah, but I really did like knowing more about the Thunderhead, who is like the AI who controls this whole world, basically. So, yeah, I don't think it's bad, but I think the first book was stronger. That's my whole summary. But I will still be reading the two, even though I've heard that one has like really mixed reviews. So yeah. Then I'm going to talk about My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante. So this is the second book in the Neapolitan Quartet. So the Neapolitan Quartet basically follows these two friends who are Elena and Lila across their whole life. So in the first book is from their basically from childhood to adolescence, and then now we're following them in their early 20s, basically. So this book, again, like the way this woman writes emotions and just portrays the complexities of their relationship, because their relationship is very like sometimes the way they treat each other, you'll be like, are you people friends? Like they go, for like whole time periods where they don't speak, but it's so clear that they love each other. And even like when you, because we're following Lenu, who's the one who's narrating the story to us, and you can see how she places Lila on like this pedestal, and even like sometimes the way she portrays it, like, I can tell that maybe she's a bit unreliable or she's not really understanding the whole situation. And even Elena as well, like she makes decisions. I just like, what is wrong with you? But honestly, she's so delightful to follow. So just her thoughts, her feelings, her emotions. I just think that like it can't help but relate to her, even when you want to shake her in the head. And just the honestly, the complexities of their relationship is so engaging, and even like the commentary on the times, being women as well in this very like patriarchal society. Because I think this is this 90, I researched this was like 1965, the times, in the 60s and all that, and just even being women and struggling to find their place and having, autonomy and making community their independence. I just think it's so brilliantly written. And even there was this whole passage, I remember when she was talking, looking at, and I was looking at the older women and their community, and she talks about how like they've lost themselves in their marriage, and she's afraid of that happening to her. Was that Lila? I'm sorry, it's been a while, but yeah, and I just thought, it's just beautiful. Honestly, that's all I can tell you. Yeah, and I'm so happy that I actually bought the whole series. I don't regret it for 1 second, and yeah, I'll definitely be getting to this. Then some of my highlights. I finished 2 series this month. So I read Jade Legacy. This is by Fondani. I was scared to read this book, and there was a reason why. Absolutely heart wrenching, heartbreaking. I cried so much. Just and honestly, like the Greenbow, I just want to talk about the Greenbow saga. So it starts with Jade City, and basically you're following like these two clans who control this precious resource called Jade. And if you can use Jade, because not everybody can use it, but those who can use Jade, it grants you like heightened abilities, basically, like they can fight better, and it's like a whole thing. And just looking over the whole series, I just what she did in that series, like the themes that she touches on, like this idea of legacy and what do you owe to your family, and even keeping your culture sacred, but also dealing with having to expand and like globalization and interacting with foreign powers, but making sure that you keep to your identity and your roots, and just the politics, the dynamics. I just think even the family, the family relationships as well. I just think the characters, the female characters too, even the antagonist who is, supposed to be. I just you can't help but love all of them and kind of see where they are coming from. And I just think it's wonderful, honestly. I think it was great. And what about Fadali? She's not afraid to kill characters. She kept playing with me, and then she finally did it to that one character. I was just like actually sobbing, like tears like raining down my face. I had like a huge bunch of tears on my bed. And I was just like, I can't believe she actually did it. But yeah, I will forever recommend the Green Bull saga on this channel. It's like just it's really top tier fantasy. I think you should, if you like fantasy at all, give it a chance. Unless maybe you don't like mafia stories, then maybe I'll say like, okay, maybe don't. But still, I think it's top tier. Then I also finished another top tier trilogy. This is Furysong by Rosaria Munda, and this is the third book in the Aurelian Cycle trilogy. And so the first book starts with Fireborn, and so in Fireborn we're following 10 years after this revolution, because there were these royals who could ride dragons, and they were basically enslaved people. And so there was a revolution, and we followed these two teenagers. Annie, who was a serf in this regime, and she was basically treated less than that. And then we follow Lee, who survived from the overthrowing of the old regime, and they're both now training to ride dragons in this academy. And basically we find out that people from the old regime, some people survived, and they kind of want to claim their country back. Anyway, so I'm just following them, and I also think this one really this series really deals with things of like ruling and power, and this idea that maybe absolute power corrupts, and how something can start off so good but lose sight of its ideals. The importance of free speech, and this idea of propaganda controlling people's what people know, and even this idea that like this democracy does, everybody really deserves to have a voice. And I think it was done so well. I like the way it ended, where it was like there's still work to be done, but like we're on the right track. Also, there's something that she did in this book that actually, when you audibly gasp, like when I find I don't say I pride myself, because it's like a thing of pride, but usually I don't really have strong reactions when I read. It's just a thing. Like I'll cry, but this one I audibly gasped. Like I stood, I was like, you did not just do that. And yeah, and I like books where like I always will be a sucker for a bittersweet ending. That's why I like, because I feel like after, especially when we're going for dealing with a revolution or something, or just like dealing with this conflict over, it doesn't make sense to me that something is not, lost, because they're telling me that the stakes are high, and yet, nothing is lost. Anyway, just to say that these two trilogies, yes, ended honestly perfectly. I loved everything that happened, and even, oh, there's something again. I'll just use these two trilogies, but especially the Greenbaum saga. Seeing the way these characters changed, like we follow them obviously as they're younger, and it's not like they change, but not in a way like the events of the story obviously make them change, and it makes sense, and we see their priorities change as they grow older. Honestly, I just think it's masterful work. Sorry, I'm going back to the Greenbaum saga, and also in Fireboy, the character arcs, the way they all grow and change, was also just so well done. And yeah, so I'll continue to recommend this to you. If you like dragons, sorry, did I mention dragons? And you like young adult fantasy, I really think you will go wrong with the Aurelian cycle. Then I'll talk about Strike the Zither. This is by Joanne Hay. This is a reimagining of the Three Kingdoms, which is a Chinese classic. So we follow this strategist who is Zephyr, and she works for this warlordess because there are three warlordesses who are trying to, vie for the throne control. So she basically defects to this other warlordess or this other general, and she's trying to protect her own warlordess, and so she defects so she can get information and act as a spy. And unfortunately, this one also did not work for me. I've tried to put my mind or gather my thoughts and give you like a proper explanation why this book didn't work for me. I just don't know, because I like a strategist, I like a scheming character. Um, but I don't know. This is typically something that I should like. I also do like historical, fantasy or something that's pulling on mythology. But I just found, I think from the beginning, I don't know, something about the rights, in the beginning that just kind of threw me off, because it starts with action, which I think I should normally like, but I guess it was kind of jarring, because we start, and we're trying to run away and we're trying to escape, which is a intriguing bit. I guess it slows down. As maybe I didn't like the slowing. Now this is me just trying to figure out what I didn't like. And there's a twist in here. And there's a twist here because the story goes in a direction you don't think it's going. And so when that twist was revealed, I think thinking back on it now, I don't think I liked it, I don't think I liked the direction that the story took. Because I remember I saw the twist, and instead of being like shocked, I was just like, oh, okay. But it wasn't in like I was gagged, like I was like, oh my god. I was just like, okay, I guess. So I guess I didn't really like the direction the story went. Then yeah, and there's also like this like kind of supposed to be like not really enemies to love. It's not really enemies. I guess I liked their dynamic. I really don't know, guys. I can't tell you what. If you like historical, maybe it was just me, because I really can't put it. I wish I could give like a proper reason why. I guess I really didn't like the direction that the story took. And I think it kind of just got really, I kind of, because I was really bored, to be honest, while I was reading it as well. And it wasn't just grabbing my attention. And it took me so long. Like I forced myself to finish it, to be honest. I should have probably DNF'd it, but although there was something that happened at the end, I was like, I don't know if I'll continue. But yeah, this is just my rambling thoughts on Strike the That unfortunately didn't work for me. But if you're intrigued, give it a shot. And the last book I will be talking about is The Crimson Moth. I actually do have a physical edition of this, a physical copy, yes, but I lent it to my friend because I think she'll really like it, and I hope she likes it. But yeah, I had the very little edition, it's so pretty. I'll put a picture up. Anyway, so in The Crimson Moth, we're following this young woman. So in this world, witches used to rule, but now they've been overthrown. And so any witch that is seen, is killed immediately. But then we follow this young girl who's Rune. Her name is Rune, and so she's basically trying to save the witches, and so she takes them away to safety, and now she's suspected to be the one that's saving these people. So she decides to court one of the most esteemed witch hunters, because obviously if she's dating a witch hunter, then how could she be the Crimson Moth who is rescuing all these witches? I loved the cat and mouse dynamic. Like, this is not, I don't really consider this, because I've seen this spoken about as enemies to lovers. I kind of disagree, because those enemies to lovers where it's because he said something to her one time when she was a child. I mean, I feel I would class it more maybe like maybe star cross, because obviously they are on opposing sides. But Anyway, I really from the get go, like this book is so composed. Like from the beginning, I read like the first pages, and it was on my mind constantly because it was not on my TBR for this month at all. But it was in my mind, and so I just had to pick it up. I think the author really helped, like makes you invested in the story because when you follow Rune, like you fall in love with her almost immediately, or you feel for her, and so obviously you're rooting for her, you want her to win. I also like that dynamic. It's dual POV, dual point of view, so we are following both of them and just reading their thoughts. I really liked it. I like their character dynamic where they're kind of falling for each other, but at the same time, they're keeping secrets from one another. And I top tier. What will I say? I'm also looking forward to the ending. I would say maybe avoid this one if you don't like romance because the romance is a pretty big, but like I really like it. Oh, and also I take away one star because I realized I don't really rate my books in it. I think I'm going to start doing that. Anyway, I take away like maybe a half a star because this book kept mentioning how much bigger he is and how small she is to the point where like I usually don't notice when things are repeated in the book. Like I don't know if it's just me, but this one it was so much. I was just like, we get it. He's a big boy. She's small. He's big and small. Like, it's okay. He's muscular. He's big. We get it. So things like that, I guess. But it's really minor to be honest. I'm just saying it because it kind of annoyed me. And yeah, I guess I'll say there's also something that in the end a particular character is killed off, and I think why it annoys me is because like this I can't say because I don't want to spoil, but I felt like the character was just killed off to be killed off too because it would have been a problem for this. And I don't know, I was like, but you didn't have to know. Maybe that's just me. But yeah, those are all the books I read in February. And a pretty kind of mixed but overall positive reading experience. Tell me if you read any of these. Tell me if you disagree with my thoughts. If you like them, if you read them, please like, subscribe if you want to. And I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.